Hello, everybody. My name is Alter Hines. I'm with Living the One Light. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the full moon in Gemini happening on November 15th, 2024. And there are a couple of angles I'm feeling called to speak to with this full moon, actually relating to the full moon, but also just relating to life and astrology itself. And so that's kind of component one of what I want to talk about here. And then component two is something I noticed when I looked at the chart of the full moon and I brought in some of the like not typical beings that I work with, some of the asteroids in particular. Suddenly I noticed something pretty fascinating. So that's a part two of what I want to discuss in this video. And yeah, so first let me show you the chart of the full moon and let me show you in the sky where it is, and then I'm going to drop into into these two themes, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks for being here. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. I would really, really love that. Um, yeah, please subscribe. And okay, so here is this chart, which ironically, for some reason, I used the program AstroGold, and it's been having a glitch where it doesn't let me um, take off or add the things I want. And today it's deciding to not let me take away things from this chart. So I really wanted to show you a much more simple chart than this, but I think this actually speaks to part of the point I want to make. So um, yeah, so I'm just leaving it. I'm gonna let it be like this because first of all, I don't have a choice right this second, and second of all, because it actually is relevant in a weird way. So I'm super sorry, and I guess you're welcome that there's everything on here. Um, okay, and yes, I restarted my computer. I did all all the things, and anyway, it's still acting funny. So all right, so here is the moon. It's going to be at 23 degrees 52 minutes of Gemini. Here is the sun, which is at 23 degrees 52 minutes of Sagittarius. And so the sun by this point is getting very close to the galactic center. The moon itself is in the stars. It's right near the star Capella, which is astronomically considered the anti um, galactic center. So in other words, it's a star that's opposite um our from our perspective, the our Milky Way, like the center of our galaxy. So basically this full moon in a sense is straddling, it's like it's holding us, the Earth, and it's very much an energy playing with the energy of the center of our galaxy very strongly. So I'll talk more about that in a second. But the thing I wanted to point out that popped in so all of these things on here are all of this is every single one of, except I think this is missing one thing I look at when I did the when I went through all the transits of 2025 and I created the 2025 Cosmic Wisdom Guide, which there's a mini version that's free that a lot of you have already signed up for, and you can still sign up for, and I'll put the link here. And then there's a full version, which you can also, uh, purchase for $25 if you want. And then I'm going to be also doing a workshop on the astrology of 2025 next Monday, which is December 9th, which comes with the full guide if you want that. So in the full guide, I go through the transits of all of this stuff. I mean, I have the guide, and then actually I have a detailed transit guide, which is 47 pages long, and you know, you can have all the information you want about 2025 pretty much in there. And I'll talk about not every single one of these things in that workshop, but I go through several of the themes, the 16 of the themes that I see really highlighted in 2025. So all of these things here are the things I focus on or that I look at, that I sometimes sort of am I'll put up the chart with everything and then I will feel into, okay, what's really alive here. And so the way this is relevant actually to the energies of this full moon is that the full moon is in Gemini again, the sun is in Sagittarius, and that on one level, the Sagittarius Gemini axis absolutely has to do with our perception, our way of learning, the right brain, left brain balance, how we can get really focused sometimes, or we can, back up and see the big picture. Sagittarius being more of the big picture, Gemini being more of the details. And when we are able to balance and integrate the two, then that's where we find the happy medium or the happy middle, right? Um, so on one level, to have added in everything is very, very Gemini and is can get just too overwhelming. And what Sagittarius can often do is help us gather together all of those details, all the data, and notice, okay, what's really actually calling to us? What is really actually relevant? What helps us in more of like the gestalt or gestalt, whichever way you want to say it, of the point of this. What meaning do we make out of this, right? And so typically what I do, just as a sort of side note, but again, relevant here, when I'm looking at the energies of any particular upcoming transit, like a full moon or a new moon, I'll look at everything first, and then I'll let it speak to me. So it's like I start sort of maybe more Gemini, and then let my Sagittarian side, which is very strong, come out, and I go, okay, here's what's calling to me. Here's boom, 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 and here then is the meaning coming from that. And then my Piscean side comes in and my Virgo side, right? So all of my sort of mutable energies actually converge to bring together what it is I'm being asked to speak to. Which is all of that is actually incredibly highlighted in this full moon because the full moon is Gemini, Sagittarius, highlighting all of these mutable energies. Okay. So when I went through that process, looking at all of this, something that jumped out at me is fascinating. Um, the asteroid Eros is conjunct the sun, and opposite that is the asteroid Cupido, who is also Cupido and Eros are the same basic energy. Cupido is Cupid, who is the Latin or Roman version of um, Eros, the Greek version, right? And so Cupido is with the moon and Eros is with the sun. So it's like this energy, this Eros energy, this Cupid energy is double in this full moon. Fascinating. And then I look to, okay, there's probably a story here. There's probably an energy going on here. That's really, that's a significant thing. So then I felt into, all right, what else is aspecting them? And a big thing aspecting them is Hygeia, trining Eros and the sun, and sextile to Cupido and the moon. And Eris Xena is in there too, but what I'm really feeling drawn to is the Eros. Um, so I mean, sorry, is the Hygeia. So Hygeia at 22 of Aries there, not too far from Chiron. So Hygeia is the goddess of healing. Chiron is the healer, the wounded healer, right? And Chiron is actually the mentor of Asclepius, who's the father of Hygeia, if that makes sense. So in a way, you could kind of say, in terms of lineage, Hygeia is sort of a granddaughter-ish to Chiron. Um, but when I'm looking at a chart and I'm trying to think about healing or being a healer or the energies around healing in general, the two biggest ones for me are Chiron and Hygeia. They happen to be very close to each other in the sky right now. Um, and Hygeia is trining the sun and Eros on this full moon, and then sextile to Cupido and I mean, oh my goodness. She's trining the sun and Eros. She's sextile to Cupido and the moon. Okay. Um, so I'm gonna speak more to this whole thing, this what I'm feeling in the Eros Cupido Hygeia component. That's my second theme I really want to speak to, the themes around what's available here at the time of this full moon with sexual healing and how does that serve us in this time and why, how can we be held in all of that? Okay. So I'm going to come back to that in a second. But what I want to say here is also with regard to how we perceive things in general, how we make meaning of it, and how we approach, specifically how we approach astrology, but really how we approach life. Um, yeah, I want to speak to a notion of bringing the quantum into astrology. And I also add in another reason this is very relevant to this full moon is because actually on the day of the full moon, um, Mercury is stationing direct. So hang on, let me just bring that up one second. Um, yeah, so on the exact same day of that full moon, Mercury, who is the ruler of Gemini, so the ruler of the moon, is going to be going direct about 12 hours after the exact full moon. So on the day of the full moon, Mercury, the ruler of the moon, is stationing direct. So it's very, very, very strong Mercury that, in this energy. I mean, it's already strong because it's the ruler of the sign of the moon, but also it's going direct that day. So, and Mercury has to do with what? Perception, and it's in Sagittarius. So again, this Gemini Sagittarius combo is so incredibly alive in this entire chart. And yeah, so this question of how do we perceive things, how do we even approach astrology itself? Let me stop sharing the screen and just say a few things about that, because this is something that's come up for me many times over many years. And I keep almost speaking to it, and then there's so many other things I'm speaking to that, it's like I don't want to, it just hasn't felt like the exact right moment, but now it does because it's first of all very relevant to the actual energies of the chart that we're talking about here. And also it's feeling more and more imperative as we get further into this time that we're in, and with Pluto now being in Aquarius, et cetera, et cetera. And so, as you know, if you've heard any of my recent videos, is one of the biggest opportunities. I've talked about this in my Pluto and Aquarius video. I talked about this in my Astrology of 2025 video, I think. Anyway, I've talked about it lots of places. We absolutely are in a time where we're being called to, and we have this opportunity to come into the quantum realms of our being. That can mean so many different things. And if you haven't accessed the Wholeness Way series, that is a free series. It's a daily, monthly, an entire month of daily videos where, that really supports us to come into that quantum realm of ourselves. So please access that if you haven't. But so as we're in that process of coming into this quantum realm of ourselves, as I've said before, I just want to throw in there, it's so crucial to stay grounded as we do that. Okay. But as we do that, I'm feeling more and more and more that it's so crucial to approach astrology with that understanding, because we can look at anything in life, but specifically, let's say an astrology chart, and we can interpret it more from that, I would say, mm, not quantum realms. How do I put that? How do I put this? Um, More of a constricted viewpoint, right? So, okay, this is one way I can put it. I have a friend who had a baby about a year ago, and I looked at the baby's chart when she was born, um, and I thought, wow, this chart could be you know, with a sort of an average human, I would look at this chart and think, wow, this is potentially pretty, maybe very difficult childhood, which doesn't compute because this, like my friend, the mom is, you know, just amazing. And it would never, like, I would look at that chart and I could imagine like a lot of very difficult child abuse, or I don't know, really, really, really difficult things in the family. Not that that's not that that's impossible for this child, but is really not. I just didn't feel that because the day she was born, I was also very tuned into her, and I was very tuned in to her process of incarnating, you know, being birthed into her life. And I had a very profound experience actually with her spirit, and I thought, no, no, that just doesn't fit. So then I tuned into the chart and I tuned into the actual being, and I realized, oh, she's coming in already in the quantum realms, right? So then I realized, this can make me cry. I realized, wow, with a lot of kids now who are being born now, I would say, so I have two kids, but they're a little bit older. They're 12 and 17, about to turn 13 and 18. And I don't feel this as, I mean, they're amazing. I'm not saying they're not, they're amazing. They're way beyond me, way beyond, you know, people, our generations. Like that generation is just truly, obviously incredibly amazing. But even, I would say even the babies coming in right now, I feel with a lot of them, this quantum light is already there. I would say with my kids, I feel tons and tons of light. I mean, they're amazing, very amazing beings. Okay. But there's this quality of this quantum light with some of the new babies. Um, and so I've been recognizing more and more and more that when I look at the charts of children, especially these new babies, I have to switch my gear so that I'm looking at everything through the possibility that they are coming in with the quantum light already. They're a very different, it feels to me like generationally, there's a certain ones of them at least who are coming in with a really different, very different vibrational quality. Like this is a whole tangent, but this is what I'm doing. I'm talking about this tangent. So I'll give you a little bit of my thoughts on this. I feel like with my generation and older, so I'm 47. So people around my age and older, I feel like in when I work with people, typically what I see, and this is definitely true in my own life, I see kind of the first 35 to 45 years of our life. Often we come in with a certain kind of karma, a certain kind of past life patterning that plays out in those first few decades, the early decades of our life, and then we hit a point where, you know, again, I would say around somewhere between 35 and 45, although sometimes not until older, where we go, oh, this is happening for a lot of you right now, actually, right now. A lot of people who are coming to me, this is happening like in this moment. Suddenly there's this moment where we go, wait a second. Okay, that was a thing that needed to play out. And whoa, this is not what I'm here to be or do anymore. And then there's this process of releasing and letting go all those patternings, right? Which is, again, I think what we're all collectively, we have this opportunity right now, is we have this opportunity to move into the quantum realms. Part of that is releasing all the past karmic patterns. Okay. And so what I feel with some of these babies, and I would say even to a certain extent, my own kids' generation, sometimes, especially these new babies, I feel less of that need to play out the negative karmic patterns. I mean, I don't know. They're babies right now. I can't really say this. We'll see, you know, they will see, they will experience whatever they're meant to experience. But I feel like the programming of much of my generation and older, was that it was really needed for us to rehash a lot of that stuff that we went through in many, many, many eons of lifetimes. And then we hit the point where we're ready to switch into the quantum realms, right? Which is, again, what I think this moment in time is right now collectively for lots and lots of us. But with these babies, I think they're coming in at the quantum moment, right? So they're coming in with just a very different, a different quality. Okay, so my point is then when we're looking at an astrology chart, so like let's say we're looking at the chart of a baby, it is extremely disturbing and upsetting to me for so many reasons. It's just unbelievably unethical for so many reasons. First of all, to look at a chart of a child or a baby or even an adult and label it and predict, okay, yeah, XYZ means this person is going to have difficulty with blah, blah, blah. We don't know that. We can't possibly know that. And what if that being actually is coming in with those particular astrological signatures, but their soul is in quantum realm already, or their soul is coming in with frequencies we're not even familiar with? That we have to hold space for that possibility when we're looking at the configuration of the cosmos in the moment they're born, which is translation, their astrology chart, right? And same with us now. This is like really important to me that when we're looking at the astrology of now, there absolutely is sort of the kind of rote way of looking at the transits, the typical like in this full moon, we have the sun in Sagittarius, we have the moon in Gemini, we have the ruler of the moon, Mercury, going direct. Like that means certain basic things, and it can give us some basic information like I'm talking about right now, that this full moon certainly holds space for us to come into a different relationship with our way of perceiving things, knowing things, teaching things. And I'm doing that right now. Okay, so it's not true. and as we hold space for that sort of basic way of being with everything, it's so important to me that we then also hold the quantum realm potential, not only the potential, but the quantum realm reality. So just like with that baby, right? It's not even that she has quantum realm potential. I think she is quantum realm. She embodied. That is what she is. That's my experience of her, at least. And now it's a year later, and I would say the same. I still feel the same way about her. So yeah, and the same is true for us. So it's not even that we have the potential for quantum realm. I think that we are doing it, lots and lots of us. And so when we look at anything in astrology, I just want to name that it's not, for me, it feels so suffocating actually to only look at the sort of typical stuff. And I really do. We were talking about this in the astrology course a couple weeks ago. This came up in one of our conversations. It was a super beautiful conversation where it suddenly clicked for me. Oh my, whoa, whoa. I think part of what's going to be happening over the coming year and beyond um, is that actually I think we have the potential to collectively really hold this space for quantum, if you want to call it quantum astrology, to come into being. And interestingly, as another side-ish note, on starting on, I think it's January 6th. Anyway, coming up in January, I am going to be a speaker in a summit held by Louise Eddington called Quantum Astrology. It's really funny. That just sort of dawned on me. And yeah, I'm super excited to be a speaker in that. So, and it's actually available as of yesterday to sign up for. So I'll put the link for that here. There are going to be some really wonderful astrologers in that summit, like well, let's see, Kaylin Castell, Rick Levine, Ariel Gutman, Mark Jones. Yeah. So I'm very honored to be part of that and super excited because that's definitely a huge part of what I'm feeling called into, is holding space for us to be in the quantum relationship with life, which includes definitely astrology, right? So I'm really excited to be in more of a collective conversation. What does that mean? I'm really curious to hear from these other astrologers. What does that mean for them? Um, I've been having a little bit of a dialogue with Pam Gregory about, where is astrology going? And I'm really excited that she's also exploring this, and Heather Ensworth. And um, yeah, I feel us as a collective, like getting chills. It's really fun and exciting. And I think when we hold space for the quantum realm of things, it helps us to free ourselves from this time of forgetting, really is what it comes down to. And the quantum realms are partly about the coming into our being, the wholeness of our being in this time of remembering. Okay. It's my big tangent about all of that. But again, super, super relevant to the energies of this full moon in a fascinating way. um, all right. And then part two of what I want to talk about. So, like I said, when I then bring in the the beings of the chart that call to me, like again, I never would look at everything on that chart that I showed you. That is way too overwhelming. Oh my, no way. But I let sort of that Sagittarian part of me, and the Piscean part of me will let what needs to come forward come forward. And what was super obvious when I looked at the chart was what? We have Eros conjunct the sun on the galactic center. Fascinating. With Cupido conjunct the moon opposite Eros and the sun at Capella, which is the opposite the galactic center. So the galactic center again is the center of our galaxy. It's a black hole in the center of our own Milky Way galaxy. And so anything in the area of that galactic center or opposite the galactic center for me brings in, our direct connection with source itself. The galactic center is where, I mean, the Milky Way in that area is where stars are being born in our own galaxy. It's like incredibly deep and powerful, and that's the source of life. Um, so and then we have Eros, which is the Greek version of this god, and opposite Cupido, which is the Roman version. So it's like they're talking to each other. Eros and Cupido, who are the same, are talking to each other on both sides of this full moon. Fascinating. And then we have Hygeia trining in Aries, trining the sun and Eros, and sextile to the moon and Cupido, right? And so Hygeia again has to do with she's the goddess of healing. And Chiron is not too far from her, so he's there as well. Again, very much a healing presence. Um, and the sun and the moon and Cupido and Eros are squaring Neptune. So again, this sort of transcendent healing energy of and forgiveness and releasing energy, this very beautiful healing energy all the way around. But there's something about divine sexuality in general, like Eros, what is the essence of Eros and the erotic nature of existence, which also ties in very much to the galactic center, because Eros on its basic level to me is what is creation. It's the life force of creation. So Eros, in the Greek mythology was one of the very first things to come into existence. Chaos, Eros, and I'm forgetting the third. Anyway, but it's a very basic energy. It just is. It's not really about having sex or not. It is, but it's not, right? Like the essence of it is pure, sacred creation, life force. Um, and so it's really interesting to me that it's so highlighted on this full moon, because yeah, one thing when I drop in and I feel into that energy is just yet again, I've said this over years at various points, it comes up. Um, Last year, actually, we had Eros and Hygeia both conjunct in Aquarius for a bunch of months. So there was this quality over and over and over again last year. But again, this is being highlighted here where yeah, when I drop into my own being, my own body with it's, as we know, I would say sexuality and topics relating to sexuality and also relating to masculine and feminine dance are absolutely crucial to the healing of this planet, right? If we think of what have been the most scary, damaging traumas of humanity over eons, certainly in some one way or another is probably related to sexuality in some way or dominance or the feminine masculine dance that has gone so out of whack, right? So so what I feel in my own body, my own being when I drop into these energies of the Hygeia with Chiron and then Eros and Cupido doing this dance all together. And actually also, Mercury going direct on that same day of the full moon, it's going to be trining, like almost exactly trining Mars, who just went retrograde by the time of this full moon. So Mars is going retrograde at 6 degrees of Leo. So again, sexuality very alive, and Mars going retrograde in Leo. That's a very alive energy there. It's going retrograde on December 6th. So I'm recording this on December 3rd. So it's stationing retrograde right now. It'll be going retrograde in another 3 days. But by the time of this full moon, it's very definitely going retrograde. And it'll be trining Mercury retrograde as it's stationing direct. So again, that brings in another layer of sexual life force energy, because Mars definitely, that's one of the components of its own energy there. And yeah, so what I feel in all of that when I just drop in is like I just drop into my own being is a calling and an opportunity and a need perhaps for us to be very gentle, um and just to acknowledge that that layer of healing is really key. It's something maybe we don't talk about a lot or think about a lot, and it often can be very subtle. And it certainly needs to be handled with incredible integrity and care. And how I used to be a psychotherapist who worked primarily, well, entirely with children in the foster care system, and I worked a lot with sexual trauma and trauma of all kinds. And so I mean, I'm saying that from that perspective is, yeah, of course, handle this with a lot of care. But even the most subtle, simple levels, I feel that Hygeia there in particular being an energy that can help us just sort of, it's like a lot of self-love and a lot of gentleness. Whatever gender we are, I mean, people of all genders, virtually everybody has experienced some kind of sexual trauma in some way, some more overt and some more subtle, um, some very, very subtle. But our world is just filled with it. It's like you can't really escape it. And it is, yeah, this is another component of, yeah, okay. Got it. Yeah, very important. Oh, very important. Okay. So like I've said in so many videos, when we are coming into these quantum realms, it is crucial that we do that in a way that is grounded and held in the reality that we are Gaia. And so part of the reality that we are Gaia is that we are our bodies. And a huge, huge, huge reality for a lot of humans, a lot of people, sometimes again, sometimes on a more subtle level, sometimes on a much more overt level, is that one of the, I would say, tendencies can be that we might dissociate. Like we might want to just go into the quantum realm and just like bypass the reality that we are Earth, that we are body embodied. And part of the reason for that, if we get really, really quiet and still, not always, but definitely like sometimes can be, again, either very overt or much more subtle trauma with relation to sexuality. And this, I'm getting a thumbs up. Okay. um yeah, and so sometimes that needs to be addressed in actual psychotherapy, certainly please do that if that's what you're needing. But what I'm feeling in this energy is more of a sense of like for some people it might not necessarily be like that you have unhealed trauma that's so extreme that you really need to go address it with a therapist, but if it is, please do. It might just be more of a sense of gentle acknowledgement that, yeah, certain things on Earth have been difficult, like for yourself, but also just in life, right? And we observe, even if we haven't necessarily experienced something really extreme, we know people who have, and we see it in the news and we see it everywhere. We know that. We know people are, experiencing horrific things all the time. Um, we know that. And so it's somewhere in our energy body or our physical body or whatever it's around. And I think the Hygeia trining the Eros with the sun, and then Hygeia sextile the Cupido with the moon, and then all of that squaring, the moon and the sun and etc. squaring Neptune, all of the above. It's a very softening, soothing, compassionate energy. Which again might not mean doing a whole lot about it. It's more of a sense of just acknowledging it, not ignoring the fact that it's real, that it's been a thing, because or it continues to be a thing for so many beings. And when we acknowledge it, then the point being that that helps us to release in a way and feel more acknowledged, safe, held here as beings of Earth. Because again, as we are coming into the quantum realms, we do not want to bypass our bodies. That is not a good idea for so many reasons, including the fact that we are embodied. We are incarnated. We are here as Earth. We're not as Earth. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here as Earth. So circular logic, but it's just true. Um, and Yeah, and so there's this element of an opportunity as we're coming into the quantum realms to actually, in a sense, fall more and more and more deeply in love with ourselves as Earth and with the Earth itself, right? And as we do that, as we just let ourselves release into that deep love that we are, and the deep love that we are as Gaia, um, we might sort of move through layers of experiences of having been beings of Gaia, having been human form, where there has been, a just very out of balance relationship with what sacred sexuality is, what sexuality is, what Eros is, what Cupido is. And this energy can be a softening, soothing, holding of that reality. Again, in service, really, ultimately, of us then relaxing falling deeply in love with, and this is sort of an Eros actually experience, right? Falling deeply in love with our own being, ourselves as Gaia, um, falling in love with what it is to be in bodies who are Earth, etc., and who can be quantum and Earth at the same time. And really what's going on, as we know, is that it's Gaia coming into the quantum realm as us. Her body is making this shift as we're making this shift. Yeah, so to get the soothing as we're doing that is feeling like a really important key here. Okay. I think that's it. I will add in one thing about things coming up because it's actually very relevant. So if this whole sort of shift into the quantum realms and being held to, to be Gaia and Earth and quantum at the same time, if that calls to you, you might be interested in one of the courses I'm going to be, or I don't even know if I call it a course. Anyway, one of the things I'm going to be hosting in 2025 is something starting in January. It's going to run for all of 2025 from January to December. It's called A Year with Ben Weiss and Friends. So in that series, what I'm really going to be doing is channeling every month various realms of benevolent beings, especially the intermountain beings. But also, we'll see who else comes forward. It'll be maybe unicorns, dragons, angels, fairies, gnomes. I can't fully predict it, but I know that every month we will be with the intermountain beings, and that'll be sort of our home base. We'll go to that. We'll start in that place every month, and then whichever beings are meant to channel through me, other benevolent beings will come forward each month. And what they're going to be doing, what they've been wanting to do for years, and now it's time, is that they're going to be really holding space for us essentially to come into this quantum realm of ourselves and the crystalline realm of, it's really the quantum realm though. And they're going to be holding space for us to do that in an energetically grounded, safe way, where we are, really supported to remember but also our ancient healing wisdom of what these realms are, who we are on that level, and the healing traditions, the ancient healing traditions of these realms that support the quantum realm, that support the crystalline realm, that support the ultimate quantum realm of Gaia as us. That's really, really what it comes down to. So that series is starting in January 2025. You already can join if you want. There is a monthly payment option available. There's also a sliding scale option available. So please, please, please join if that calls to you. The other things coming up are next Monday, December 9th. Again, I think I mentioned this in the beginning of the video. I'm holding an Astrology of 2025 workshop, which comes with the full 25 Cosmic Wisdom Guide that I created. Please join us if that calls to you. And then also in 2025, the other things I have ready to sign up as of yesterday. I've been working on my new website and putting up all of my 2025 offerings, and I've finally gotten it all up there. So I'm going to put all those links here. But the other things that are ready now for you to sign up for are the other things I'm doing in 2025. So it'll be the A Year with Ben Weiss and Friends starting in January that I just mentioned. Then starting in February, I'm going to be restarting the Infinite Soul Wisdom Astrology 101 course, where, we go through the year and really it's called a portal of remembering. And I've talked about this in so many other videos, and I've done videos with some people who are in the course this year, and it's just been the most amazing experience. I really feel like those of you who are drawn in, I think that we collectively ultimately are holding space for this quantum realm of astrology to move into the world, not only through me, not only through, you know, other full professional astrologers, but through all of us, through you. It's needed to come through each and every one of us. That's part of the quantum realm. I don't know if I want to call it way, but that's how it's meant to come through, is not just through me. It's supposed to come through our whole collective together. And that's absolutely been happening in this current year. And I can feel it's going to be keep going in the year, those of you who are called to be part of it in this coming year. And I'm super, super excited about people who are already showing interest. So that's available now to sign up for. For people who have done the Astrology 101 this year, I'm going to be doing starting Astrology 102, starting in March of 2025, and that's available. And then the fourth thing I'm doing is starting in April of 2025, I'm going to be holding a Stars Speak course, which is also going to be a 13-month journey. It's a little tricky to call anything these things courses, more of a journey or sacred space. But in the Stars Speak course journey, that's going to be led by me most of the time, but then it's going to have a monthly gathering also with me and Chris Skidmore, where we're going to bring in the components, the mythological components. I'm going to be in charge of doing the science, the astronomy, the astrology, and a little bit of the mythology regarding the stars and the constellations and the parts of the sky that we focus on each month. Chris will then help me bring, really deeply hold space for mythology associated with those stars and constellations. And I will also channel every month to help the wisdom of these stars come through each and every one of us. Because again, that's the whole point of everything I do, is that it's really not meant to be me giving answers. It's really meant to be me holding space for the divine puzzle pieces to come through every single one of us, and for it to be a collective journey. And then also in Stars Speaks, there's going to be 4 live guest speakers. There'll be Heather Ensworth, Kaylin Castell, Divine Harmony, and Julia Balaz. So all 4 of them obviously incredibly amazing humans, and with amazing knowledge about stars and star wisdom. And yeah, the whole Stars Speaks, everything I just said is going to be amazing. But I'm excited about all of it. So those are all ready now to sign up. And if you are interested in a sort of more extended payment plan, that's available now. I'm open to giving like an 18-month payment plan up till January 15th-ish. So sign up earlier than later if you want more of an extended payment plan. And also, if you're interested in multiple of those courses, which I know several of you are, I'm happy to create bundles. So like a discounted, bundle, if you want to do multiple. And actually the Astrology 101 and the Star Speaks both of those courses come with a 25% discount on anything and everything else I do. So automatically you get that discount. But yeah. So, but if you want a specific bundle to help you, like an 18-month payment plan to help you spread out the payments, and because you're called to do, 2 or 3 of them, or even 4 of them, I'm more than happy to do that. So please reach out if that's something you want or need. Yeah, and they all have sliding scale options. Yeah. So if any of it calls to you, please, please, please reach out. Please join. And yeah. All right. If you want to come to the Astrology of 2020, that's another thing. The Astrology of 2025 workshop actually comes as a gift when you sign up. So that's the one I'm holding next Monday, December 9th. It actually comes as a gift if you sign up for any of my astrology courses in 2025. So that's the Astrology 101, Astrology 102, or the Stars Speak. Any of those 3, if you sign up for any of those 3, please come to the Astrology of 2025 workshop as my guest for free. Yeah, so again, that's Monday, December 9th when that's happening, but it'll be also recorded. and you don't have to be there live. Yeah, but I would love to see you if that calls to you. Okay. I think those are all the things. Yeah. I would love to hear your thoughts about any of this: quantum astrology, sacred sexuality, anything anything you feel called to say. I would love to hear it. And again, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please, please, please do. I would love to hear, I would love that. Um, and thank you so much for being part of this channel. Thank you so much for your beautiful comments. Oh, another cool thing I just put up yesterday on my new website is so many wow testimonials. If you want to see, what how people are speaking about the astrology course, or just this community in general, go to my website and scroll down. I've added so many testimonials that many, many, many of you have been sending me, and I'm really touched. I'm so touched by your comments on these videos. Really, I mean, really. It's like, how is this happening? um Yeah, I'm just sort of in awe, because I really think that the ultimate point here is the community itself, and the fact that we are together building this ecosystem um of the world we want, and the world that we're here to create. And not only in this community with me, but just in general, but specifically here as well. And I can't even explain to you how in awe and how much gratitude I feel, um for how this is all unfolding. And yeah, like, yeah, I'm so honored, and I really appreciate all of your words of support, um and the fact that you are here supporting not only me but each other and yourself. And yeah, so thank you, thank you, thank you so, so much. All right. See you very soon.